What's up everyone? So this is the second part of React component exercise. In the previous video, this one right here, we have created a really simple template for React components. So when I use that, we will get something like this. And here we have the component name based on the file name. And at the top of the file, we have the React import. Now this works fine. However, when we reuse the the snippet, it will regenerate the React import as well, which is something we don't want. Now in this video, we are going to use Treesitter to figure out whether we have the React import or not. And based on that state, we will generate or not generate the React import. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to use Treesitter. Now, if you are not familiar with Treesitter, I highly recommend watching this video series. Now, this is pretty old. It's the first one is 3 years old. So some of the APIs might be different from now. And I have a Treesitter query video. This is something we are going to do today. And I have a bunch of examples or exercises as well. In this repository, I have my own snippets, just the ones I have created for my personal use, not to be used as a plugin, but you can check them out. Maybe you can get an inspiration from these snippets. And I have zero documentation for using these snippets, but what you can do is you can go to my configuration and check the check how I have used these ones. For example, I have CMP, the exact one we are doing within the exercise. This one right here. This is how I have used the snippet. All right. Now let's go to the exercise. This is where we stopped the video, the last video. And this is the component. Okay. Now let's open up the syntax tree using a inspect tree command. So on the right hand side, you have the syntax tree. Let me just add another import. And let's add another named import as well. Use state. Yeah. So in the right hand side, we have two import statements. When you move the cursor, you can see the relevant text is being highlighted. Now within import statement, the first import statement, we have an import clause. Within that, we have the default import as well as the named import. To capture what we want, I'll hit O key in the syntax tree window. It will bring this query window. Here you can write queries. Let's capture all the import statements first. So import statement, and I can add a capture. Now when you move the cursor to the capture, on the left hand side, you can see everything that's captured by this thing right here. But what we want is the default import. So let's go to the import clause and capture the import clause. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture the import clause here. I could have multiple captures. For example, I could call this root or something. And here I can capture the default imports like this. We have two total captures using by this thing right here. But let's go to the default import. It's going to be identifier. And let's add the capture. I don't need this. Now it's selecting two default imports, right? But I only want one. Now we can use something called, let's open up the nvim Treesitter documentation. And there's something called predicates, like EQ will match a captcha is equal to something or not. Likewise, there are a bunch of predicates you can use. I have covered them in this video series right here. Today we are going to use EQ to match the text React. Okay, here I'm going to add a predicate EQ. Let's see if cap is equal to React. Now, okay, I have to have a hash here, I believe. There you go. Now when you move the cursor to cap, we have only one highlighted because this is the only matching one. Now when we use this query to match the syntax tree, if we find any results, that basically means we have React import, but otherwise we don't have one. So that's the condition we are going to use to generate or not generate the React import. All right. Now I'll split the window here. I'll create a new file called test.lua, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a keybind to execute this file right here. So let's add nmap leader s to run the file. It should be nmap. There you go, it's working. To make sure I can print something. There you go, we got the message. That works. Okay, now we are going to get the parser to parse the syntax tree. There is something called language tree. So let's get the language tree using get parser. So let's go here and get access vim treesitter get parser. Buffer number is going to be the current buffer. Language is TypeScript. By the way, this is not the name of the file type. Rather, this is going to be the parser we are going to use, name of the parser. So that's why we are not using TypeScript React. That's the file type, but here it should be the parser name. Let's store this in a variable called parser, right? And we can access the parser to parse a new syntax tree, as you can see here. So let's do that. Parser, parse, and you can pass in true. This will entirely parse the entire syntax tree. So local syntax trees, because this is going to return multiple trees. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to print syntax trees. Let's see what that is. So it's an array, and within the array we have one element, something called user data. Let's check that out. Let's see what that is. So first access the first element, and let's print actually. Now we got the user data. To get the actual data, I'll call get meta table and pass in the syntax tree. Okay. Yep, this looks good. And when we run, we get something like this. So we have a bunch of functions, including root. So root will return the root of the syntax tree. That's something we are going to store. So I'll create a variable called root and call, get this right here, and call root there. Now we have the root. Okay. Now we can use a query, instance of query, to pass a syntax tree. We have the root of the syntax tree right here. Okay. First of all, we have to create a query. So if you go to Treesitter query, There should be something called pass, a function called pass, I believe. Is the one to which we are passing the language and the actual query we have created previously. So let's get a query instance. Here I'm going to let's create a query multi-line string, and within that let's copy the query we created and paste it here, and let's get an instance. Maybe let's call this query str and query. Then here I'm going to use vim treesitter query pass. First argument is going to be the language, so it's TypeScript, and the query str. There you go. Next, using the query instance, this query instance type, we can do what is that? Iterate through all the matches we have. We are going to have only one. So down here we have query. We can call iter matches, and here we are passing the root of the tree, syntax tree, buffer number, the start and end points. We don't need to have that. Then bunch of options we can pass in. Okay, so let's call this iter matches query iter matches. Node is going to be the root we stored right here, and the source is going to be, hold on, this should be root. Source is going to be the buffer number or the string you want to add, but here we are evaluating a buffer, so 0 is the current buffer. I don't need to pass in start or stop. And we have a bunch of options we can pass in. So we have a few options: max start depth and match limit. I'm going to set match limit to 1, because if at least one of the matches has been found, I'm gonna stop there. So that is match limit equal to 1. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, actually I had a pass in nil for both start and end points. Now it's valid. Okay, so I'm gonna store the match in a variable. Let's see what that is. And let's go here, run. It's going to be a function. So when the function is called, let's see what it's going to return. Okay, so we have a bunch of information. Now let's change the query slightly. So let's say we are looking for something called React with double T. Let's see what it's going to return if it is not found. Okay, looks like it's going to be nothing. Let me just add some text here to make sure it's being printed. Yep, just bunch of asterisks, but I believe this is going to be written in nil instead. So we can add a if condition here, right? So if match, then that basically means we have the React import. Otherwise it's going to be we don't have any React imports. Okay, so let's create a function using all this. First of all, I'll create a function called getRoot. Function getRoot. What am I? getRoot. There you go. And I'm going to copy these things. Then I'm going to create another function called as React import, to which I'm going to move all this, right? Then here I'm going to return true, else I'm going to return false. Okay, if we have any match, we're going to return true, otherwise it's going to be false. So yeah, looks good. Now let's get the final output right here. Actually, I missed something here. It has to be get root function, right? What is this? If it is nil, oh yeah, we have to return the root from here. Oh, otherwise I'm going to return the entire thing. Yeah, that's better. And then let's call as React import, like so. And let's see. It's saying we don't have any React imports. I believe that's because we changed the name of the import. Now let's try again. Yep, we have a React import, but when I remove this statement, we shouldn't have any. Yeah, there you go. Now I'm going to copy all this, go here, paste them here. So we have get root and has imports. Now scroll down here. We are going to call add a if condition. If has React import, what we are going to do is, sorry, this has to be has not any React import. So I'm going to generate a new import statement. Looks good, right? Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to remove everything and refresh the snippets. Let's rerun the snippet. Okay, there we have the React import. And let's say we have the React import already. When we rerun, it's not going to generate the regenerate the React import. Now there you go. This is how you can use Treesitter for advanced LuaSnip snippets. You can do like absolutely crazy stuff using Treesitter and LuaSnip. So look forward to amazing snippets like this in the future. So this is it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.